This is Scott from My Life's Reward. This is part number 2 coming at you, the narrated version of the ATV Overland from 2021 June in the UP of Western Michigan. Coming right up. Stay tuned. This is Scott from My Life's Reward. Thank you for visiting the channel. This video is part 2 of a 5-part series of our 477-mile ATV Overland on the western side of the UP of Michigan. Day 1, we traveled 131 miles from Iron River, Michigan to Ontonagon. We stayed in Scott Superior Inn and Cabins in Ontonagon. And for day 2, we need to travel 119 miles to Copper Harbor. We have to keep a tight timeline due to the set schedule for the bridge crossing, our timeline being 2:15 Eastern Standard Time. In our case, it'll take us from Houghton to Hancock, since we're traveling north. We struggle a bit with the time zones between Ontonagon and Houghton being in different time zones, but we managed to keep the schedule. We did get a police escort, and you'll see that in the video. I wanted viewers to get a good look at how the bridge crossing works, what it looks like with the police escort and the views and that sort of thing. So the video is just going to be a little longer. As we arrived closer to our destination, we did encounter some obstacles, which I'll get into a little bit later towards the end of the video. We did slow down our progress, and we ended up arriving a little bit later than we wanted to. Thank you for visiting the channel, and enjoy the video. It is good to be back again with this pleasant task of narrating part number 2. As I review these videos, it is a treat for me to relive these memories. So let's get to it. Our stay at Scott's Superior Inn was excellent. The space we had was on the lower level and had multiple bedrooms, a full kitchen, a living area, access to a game area and grill. Highly recommended. Here you see us leaving Ontonagon and returning to the old railroad grade that is the OR route. We did deviate off of the OR route onto a snowmobile trail. We did not know this trail was not to be used by ORVs. Besides, this trail has ticks, water, mud, and dilapidated bridges. Recently, I have been in contact with one of the MI Trail fathers. MI Trail, spelled M-I-T-R-A-L-E, is an acronym for the Michigan Trails and Alliance of Land and the Environment. These fine people are committed to making ORV and shared trails accessible and easy to follow for users while protecting the environment and the arrangements made with landowners via land use permits. In the part number 1 video, as well as this video, we used a trail that was designated as snowmobile only. As we ride these trails, I will point out our errors so as to not promote this use for others. During the narration, I will refer to trail names. For the Michigan DNR designated ORV routes and trail mapping system, check out the URL on the screen. Find this link from my webpage under the section called Trail Navigation Links. There are a couple of places in this part of the trail that I did not think we were going to be able to drive through. Some of the water areas where it looked like the road was part of a lake or marsh, very sketchy. The Beaver Dam down the trail a bit helped explain some of these higher water levels. Beavers, marvelous engineers that can create some of the best ecosystems, but can also cause problems for roads and access. And, I get that since this is a snowmobile trail, it's off limits, but I am sure that there are other trails in the UP that offer the same type of adventure sense. I just, when I go on a trail and I might not make it out, that does appeal to me. Or we might have to use some other means of getting through and be somewhat tactical about the whole thing. Maybe use winches or pulling people through. Those always add level of excitement for me and maybe others. I don't know. To repeat though, we were not supposed to be on this trail. So I just want to make that clear. So thank you. Here, we're riding the edge of some backwater, likely flooding from a beaver dam. Once in a while, you pick up a drop of water on the lens of the camera, and you just don't know that it happened, and then you have this type of thing. Oh well. Our first creek crossing on this trail. We were treated to a beaver sighting in this magnificent dam the family built. Our first old bridge. This would turn out to be a challenge with the side-by-side our friend Jim is driving. Jim is a great driver. The problem is the side-by-side is heavy and struggles with some of these obstacles.
What's the matter there, buddy? Bridge has got you down. Good. Okay. Yep, too late. Keep going.
Go!
Go. Oh, there you go. Nice. Well done.
This is the second mud hole that Jim's side-by-side struggled. The first was early at the beginning of the trail and was not captured on video. Kyle, my son's handling of the situation is cool and calm. It is entertaining to see these two working together. Here in this mud hole, what you can't see is Jim's right front tire is stuck on part of a washing machine or dryer buried in the muck. If that was not in the way, Jim's side-by-side probably would have made it through. Again, I love Jim's handling of the situation once he was able to get some momentum. Yeah, buddy, as he would say.
Woo! Buddy! Yeah, buddy!
This last bridge before the main road was not as much of a problem. Everyone was able to cross it without incident. This was the end of the off-limit snowmobile only trail. At this point, we drove into Greenland to get back on the regular ORV trails. In Greenland, we jumped back on the BN route and took it northeast all the way into Houghton. The scenery at expansive views from these series of bridges over the west and east branches of the Firestill River are magnificent. The first bridge is the west branch of the Firestill River. These bridge spans are just incredibly long. I didn't get a chance to look to see how they are constructed underneath, but wow. And this happens 3 different times. Just incredible. And the views, wow, across all 3 bridges, just incredible. The middle branch is a branch off of the west branch of the same river. The third bridge is the east branch of the Firestill River. Here we are crossing 26 and on our way into a town. Now we are rolling into South Range. It is like time stopped here, and I mean that in the most complimentary way. It is like the people that live here said, hey, let's just let the world do what it wants. We're okay with things the way they are. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Shortly after South Range, we arrived in Houghton. We followed the Portage River to the bridge access. The sign and gate across the road shows the location of the route. We called the Houghton Police Department to request an escort. The times for crossings are 9:15, 2:15, and 7:15. And there needs to be a minimum of 2 ORVs. Upon meeting the officer sent to help us, there was a nice discussion and he seemed to be intrigued about our overland adventure. After 5 minutes of discussion or so, probably waiting for another potential ORV wanting to cross, we started our exciting journey across the bridge. There's a long stretch here along the waterfront that is camping area. Seems like a nice place to be. There's a little bit of a recreational area coming up here with a slide and some sort of a community building of some sort for the campground, I believe. So it looked like a nice little place to stay. We see our first glimpse of the white and blue Portage Lake Lift Bridge at this point as we travel this curve. Our view improves as we get closer and closer. This will be our best full view of the bridge other than crossing it. Check out this documentary video for the bridge. It's in the description of the video. Reminds me a lot of the Mackinac Bridge documentary that's also on YouTube. Here we are going underneath the bridge, and we'll make a turn onto one of the streets that gets us to the road crossing the bridge. As we take the final roads to the bridge, the police car is stopping traffic for us to make it safer for crossing. Then the police car follows our last ATV across the bridge. Here we go across the bridge and on what is the BD route. Now we are entering Hancock, Michigan. At this point, we will continue our journey back under the bridge where it will change from the BD route to the B route that goes almost all the way to Copper Harbor, and with the additional short BL route into the community. Now we get the treat of traveling alongside the river back the other way. Great views, and it was exciting to be traveling through Hancock and seeing so much of the community and businesses up close. We stopped at Gino's restaurant for lunch. Great experience, very much recommended. Traveling up and down these hills was pretty neat, and then this view is just magnificent along the waterfront here. It's just amazing to have a trail like this set aside for ATV, ORV use in the middle of a large populated area. So I enjoyed this part of the trip. Not only traveling north, but coming back in and seeing the bridge all over again. And that will be in the next part there, but great experience here. And there's Gino's off to the left there in that yellow sign. We did stop there and we ate, and it's great food, as I had said. We continue to work our way out of the town here along the shoreline, and then we eventually get on these trails here. As we continue our ride along Route B, that was once the Sioux Line Railroad, we ran into some small elevation changes. Then we passed by Boston Lake. As I have mentioned before, I enjoy these kinds of elevation changes and rides, and this was also quite fun. My apologies, I have no video of us completing the journey to Copper Harbor from Boston Lake. A barrier will be coming up here, and we did encounter this going into Copper Harbor and coming back out, and we just found alternate routes around this barrier. The outro is playing now, and I'll bring it back up here in volume. But just stay tuned for an overall trail assessment at the end of this video. Thank you. Exciting and adventurous, and I really look forward to those kinds of challenges. And to me, that's what ATV vehicles are about, is doing that. And we did encounter some cement barriers towards the end of our day. They didn't look like very good standard signage, and it was questionable whether they're even legitimate signs. But anyway, we do appreciate the folks that maintain the trails, and we did manage to be able to find the detours, and but I want to take a minute to say thank you for those that do work on the trails, and the look and the feel of the trails are just very, very well done, and just what we saw there didn't seem to fit that, so that's why I thought it was maybe a little suspect. So great job, spectacular job maintaining the trails, and we do thank you. We did manage to arrive in Copper Harbor a little bit later than we had hoped, and we stayed at the Minnetonka Resort, and you'll see those pictures of those in the last part of the video. And there's also a video clip at the very end of some heat lightning that I thought was interesting, and I just threw it in there for you to see. So I want to thank you for visiting the channel and for watching the video. And until next week, Take care. I was corrected on the heat lightning comment. What people refer to as this or a silent storm is a regular thunderstorm far off in the distance. Trail assessment. Another great day of riding. The trail going out of Ontonagon was stellar, and the trail we took across to the east that was our mistake since it is a snowmobile trail was exactly what you saw in the video. The bridges crossing the branches of the Firesteel River were awesome, and that bridge trail was top-notch. The towns were all welcoming. Aside from a blocked route that was pictured, we improvised and made our way to Copper Harbor. The overall route and experience strongly recommended, 5 stars. This completes the narration for part number 2. Join us next week for the narrated version of part number 3. We have a waterfall, a Nassau rocket range to see, and a 5-star campsite area. I look forward to seeing you here next week. Until then, take care and thank you.